I thank the Noble Lady the Minister for her rich and full response, and indeed thank all Noble Lords who I think have taken part in this really important debate. It has been long, but I think that's really been quite necessary. I want to particularly thank the Noble Lady the Minister for responding directly to my question about the UN rights for persons with disabilities, the Convention. I don't agree with the Noble Lady's response, but I appreciate the fact that she engaged fully with it, so thank you for that. I'm not going to go through and summarise all of the contributions, but I do just want to make really 2 points. These perhaps specifically are directed to the Noble Lord Kamal and the Noble Lady Baroness Murphy, but there's a phrase which has been missing from our whole debate, which is the idea of the social model of disability. And that's the idea that society is discriminatory and that people are disabled by the barriers in society, not by their difference. Now, that is actually a position that is endorsed by the Government Equalities Office in 2014, and so far as I know that still holds. It's preferred by most disability charities. And I'd invite Noble Lords to consider about another phrase in this healthcare space, which is parity of esteem. Now, I think that when we come to the social model of disability, when we come to physical disabilities, most people have now accepted that the fact there's only steps and not a ramp, that is a failure of society. It's not the failure of the person in the wheelchair. But I do not think we have really heard in this debate an acknowledgement of the same parity of esteem, the same approach to mental disability as we have accepted towards physical disability. And I think that's something we should really consider and think about. And in that context, just picking up a couple of points from the Noble Lady, the Minister, was talking about how people with autism or learning difficulties can be detained for aggressive or irresponsible conduct. The question, I think, that the Trieste model, if I can call it that, the model that's being adopted by many countries around the world, is to say, can we intervene before that point? Can we ask what has actually provoked? Can we intervene before we need to do that? And that is something that I think really needs to be very carefully considered. And the other point is the Noble Lady the Minister said, and this is something that I confronted myself and why indeed I didn't put down the broader amendment that I might have done, is what happens when people get to the point of being a danger to themselves, or, and I really must stress this is actually extraordinarily rare, a danger to others as a result of a mental disorder. Again, how did people get to that point? And should there not be services and support and community wraparound in the Trieste style that would mean, I don't think anyone is yet saying any nation or area is saying they've totally got to that point, but that surely should be where we're aiming at. But in the meantime, of course, I beg leave to withdraw them.
Before the Noble Lady sits down, I just wonder whether I could ask the Noble Lady a question. The Noble Lady referred to the Trieste model, and I thought that led to quite a deal of interest from Noble Lords across the House. So I wonder whether the Noble Lady Minister could share some details with other Noble Lords, but especially the Minister and the Department on the Trieste model, so we can all start learning those lessons.
I feel like I should have absolutely stressed at this point I am not an expert, but I will certainly do my best to secure as much information as possible and share it with all the Noble Lords. And if the Noble Lady the Minister could also has any access to resources that may not be available to me, I'm sure perhaps we could even arrange a discussion. I think it might be useful, reflecting on the Noble Lord Kamal's intervention, to arrange some kind of discussion and perhaps even hear some testimony, because I think that would really inform our consideration of this bill. But in the meantime, I beg leave to withdraw the amendment.